two, three, four.
To save you money on buying a used car.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's amazing. Just kind of briefing through some of the notes I have, Chip. There's so much stuff to cover. I mean, we've only got a couple breaks left, and it's like I'm looking at all the stuff. And I'm like, man, there's so much to cover. I just want to go over. I'm looking at what I think is most important. I mentioned before we went to break where you can buy these used cars. There's three options for you. You can buy them from private sellers, independent lots, or dealerships. Of course, if you have a wholesale license, you can get them from the auction, which not many have that. Or maybe if you know somebody, that's as sweet as it probably gets. But I will make a comment. The new TAVT tax laws and how they calculate taxes and ad valorem and all those kind of things. Again, with private sellers, it used to be an advantage because you really didn't have to pay that sales tax, but now those laws have changed, which really hurt private seller sales because that was part of the advantage when you, as a buyer, you could save money without, having to pay that. Well, that's no longer. So now, I would definitely steer you towards a dealership. Of course, I'm going to say that being a dealer, but the reason though is obviously number one, you got some recourse in case you get a used car that's kind of a bum deal, right? You should have some recourse. That's depending on the dealer. But warranty, better financing options, and really and truly cheaper prices according to Edmunds.com due to the scale and cost to buy. The prices overall, when they look at the transaction prices, typically are between $400 and $600 cheaper at a dealership. So, of course, independent lots would be something like the Lake Lot, like we have here. That's, I guess you'd consider an independent lot. That is an affiliate of Louis Heron Toyota. So, really, that wouldn't be a true independent lot because everything that we offer at Toyota, we also offer there. But that would be what an independent lot would look like. All right, so it's a lot that typically does some buy here, pay here stuff. Not a bad place to buy a car. Okay, and again, as long as you're looking at Carfaxes and some of that information, it's not a bad place to buy a car. Real quick, because our time is limited, I want to make sure that everyone knows if you're looking for a used car, where in the world do you start? Okay, I was just looking at the automotive news. I don't know if you realize this, Chip, but spending on online advertising approaches $5 billion.
Wow.
So the dealers, the manufacturers, online. So I'll recommend, obviously, Auto Trader, Craigslist. Again, there's a lot of sources out there, but where you go to find these, we used to shop, customers used to shop dealership to dealership to dealership. Now you can sit at your house and you're 2 inches away from the next dealership. I mean, you could check out 10 stores in a matter of 20 minutes right there on your computer. Right. So you can really gather some information that's important to you. You can search and find those cars, and I think it's critical. Now, here's the reason why all this information ties in. After you buy the automobile, when you buy your new used car, you are an owner, okay? There is no lemon law. There is no return policy unless, of course, the dealer has a stated policy. We have a 48-hour money-back guarantee, but most don't and some don't. And remember, again, if you buy a car, the only way you can return the car is if you're turned down by the lender and you can't get the resources from another bank, the dealer lets you. Or the one last thing that people don't realize is if it's on an off-site sale, off the location, kind of like Kirby vacuum cleaners, or vacuum, door-to-door sales. Those are right of rescission because they're coming to your place of business.
I see.
Okay, they're coming to your house. Okay,
but tent sale at Walmart.
Right. There you go. If someone's coming to you or off-site of the facility, you have recourse by the state of Georgia.
I see.
But other than that, a lot of people, when they buy a car, they think they got a raw deal. I'm going to my attorney. In the state of Georgia, there is no cooling off period. You bought a car, you own it.
I got you.
So very important. That's why the research is important, which we talked about, a couple shows back about why researching used cars was so huge. Again, it's not a legal issue. If you buy a car, once you bought it, you own it. It could be a moral issue or an ethical issue, but legally, you're
You're
done.
out of the game. Yeah.
You're out of the game, okay? So all the steps prior to buying is so critical because when you say yes and you sign the paperwork, there's no getting out. The other thing I want to make mention is a lot of people have co-buyers, co-signers. When somebody's going to help you buy a car and they co-sign, whoever that person is, remember, they're not co-signing, they're co-buying. So they are buying the car as well. And I bring that up because a lot of times in circumstances, used car buyers typically have the higher propensity of co-buyers. Mm-hmm. So very, very important. Real quick, I'll touch one last thing before we go to a break. I think it's huge. Test drive the used car. Do not look at it and say it's a 2012. It looks nice. Let's work the figures, and then maybe I'll drive it. It's huge, okay? You want to make sure that you drive the car, okay? And when you drive the car, I'm not just talking about driving, Chip. I'm talking about the visibility, the engine noise, road noise, the tires, the acceleration from start to stop, the climbing power. Listen to the transmission. How's it shifting? Make sure the braking is good, the cornering, the suspension. Listen for rattles and squeaks. These are key signs. You want to make sure the quality of the car, the dependability of the car. Look at your cargo space. Look at the fuel economy of if it's what's the city, what's the highway. These are all things you've got to do. Test drive the used car. We're talking about tips in buying a pre-owned car. We're giving you some good stuff here today.
Louis, I'll throw out a nugget for you that you alluded to, that new law that took effect March 1st.
Right.
And you're probably aware of this, but if you bought from a car dealer a new or used car from January 1st, 2012 through February 28th of 2013, you can opt in to this new law
and avoid ad valorem, right?
And avoid ad valorem from the life of the car.
That's
as
correct.
long as you own the car.
Yeah, the tax laws, I tell you, they've really it was confusing for the dealerships because they really changed some things around. Used to, you can buy a car, and when you bought a car for $10,000, it's 7%. It's $700. Now, literally, for the car dealer, and Chip, I don't know if you know this, but every time we figure a deal, we've got to go to the Georgia DMV website. We got to put in the VIN number. Once the VIN number goes in the system, it spits out a future market value. You're paying taxes based on what the future market value is going to be.
Yeah.
All right. So, or 6.5%, whichever is greater of the two. So but that eliminates ad valorem tax now, and so you don't have to do that anymore. But that's a good point. You can opt out. So again, when you're thinking about buying a new or used car, consider those tax ramifications. Also, 10 steps in buying a pre-owned. We've covered 3 shows worth it, and you wouldn't believe this, but I can tell you I still have one other page of notes. We probably could do a 4th, but we're not. We're going to move on. We've got other shows to do. We like talking about leasing, and we like talking about all kind of issues. One thing we didn't mention, just wanted to say that our thoughts and prayers go out to the folks, with the tornado
in Oklahoma.
Man, the devastation is unbelievable.
Totally unbelievable.
I mean, what was it? A mile wide.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's we're blessed. We're fortunate, and I think a big dose of gratitude goes a long way, and just really thoughts and prayers go out with those folks.
If you'd like to help, you can go to redcross.org and donate to the Red Cross, and they'll get it right to them. All right, we'll be back with more. It is Chip and Louie. It's the Auto Show. Every week at this time on Doc 103.9.
A stranger in the black sedan, won't you hop inside my car? On the expressway.